Let's take a look at our global policy and regulation managing editor, Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk, the State of Crypto newsletter, who is going to give us an update on the latest on global policy and regulation. All right, Nick, so what are you looking at this morning?
Good morning. So, as you said, the VanEck Bitcoin Futures ETF is set to begin trading very shortly, actually at 9:30 a.m. Eastern today. So, in just a few moments, and we'll be seeing if there is still, the sustained interest in Bitcoin Futures ETFs. We saw quite, pretty high volumes last week when ProShares debuted, and Valkyrie had a fairly strong start as well. So, we'll see if investors are still looking at that. And, we're keeping an eye on Congress and seeing whether or not there is going to be a deal on the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, which may be a little bit, less spending now, but we're going to see if there's a deal on that. If there is, then there's a possibility that the infrastructure bill we paid attention through all of August might also be passed soon. And, we're hearing that there may be a deal announced as soon as this week.
Hey, Nick,
when you say a deal, though, in terms of the crypto language, it's not changing, right? I mean, this is, as far as we know, all this contentious language is still totally in the infrastructure bill, correct?
Right. The infrastructure bill itself won't be changing. The deal in this case means, whether or not conservative Democrats and progressive Democrats can come to an agreement on the single party bill, the spending bill that they've been trying to push through since September.
So, Nick, I was going to ask you, you've heard of this thing called stablecoins? What's going on with them? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no.
Anything exciting?
We're hearing more and more rumors that the President's Working Group on Financial Markets is set to announce its stablecoin report soon, so to publish it soon, rather. Bloomberg reported last night that it may give the SEC a bit more authority over stablecoin regulation. And, when I was in DC last week, one of the things that I was told is that SEC Chair Gary Gensler was indeed reviewing the report. So, clearly it's on his radar. I don't know for sure if the report is actually saying, what we're hearing it's going to say, but, for sure it's going to be directing a possible pathway for greater oversight and regulation of stablecoin by the U.S. government.
Have we heard from the stablecoin issuers at all? I mean, has anybody? They've been fairly quiet. I mean, they seem to just be pumping things, whatever it is that they pump, et cetera. But they haven't actually addressed this kind of looming cloud. And I'm saying this because it's cloudy outside, but also this looming cloud over stablecoin.
I think everyone's just waiting to see what exactly the report suggests, right? We've had reporting that says the government might try to treat stablecoin issuers as bank-like entities, so similar regulation and oversight as if, a stablecoin issuer is a bank. But we don't know for sure what exactly that is or how it's going to look like. What we do know is that, reportedly, it's the Treasury Department and the Biden government want Congress to enact a law that would make this happen. So, even if this report does come out, this week, it's still going to take some time for Congress to wrap its head around it and draft a bill and pass the bill. And that's assuming it's passed at all. So, yeah.
And it won't just affect stablecoins; it'll also affect the exchanges that trade stablecoins in terms of potentially in terms of how they treat them. Correct? That's what we could see.
Yeah, exactly. If it turns out that stablecoins are going to be treated as securities, then Gary Gensler's having a field day. He'll finally have full-blown congressional authorization to regulate exchanges like Coinbase, which he said should register already. If it is treated as a bank-like entity, or stablecoin issuers are treated like banks, then I'm not wholly familiar with the specific oversight and regulation that this will result in. But yeah, it's going to result in some kind of supervision and close eye on exchanges by maybe the banking regulators like the OCC.